Testing 1, 2. Test 1, 2. All right, here we go. Go ahead. I'll also disable the virtual background. All right. There we go. We'll sound correct. So we got a, ba, ga, da. Y'all repeat after me. Da. Da. It's like this right here. Ha, wa, za. And we have ka, ta, ya. Ka. This actually looks like a K. It's just backwards. But we have ka right here. La would be the next one. La. Ma. And we have na. Now let's think about that for a second. When we look at, well, first of all, ka looks like a K, a capital K, right? La looks like a capital L. And in fact, Hebrew is basically a language that is pronounced in all capital letters. A lot of times when you see brothers talking on Facebook, especially Captain Mashak Mayam, I don't think I've ever seen him use a lowercase letter, even when he's talking in English. But when he's speaking in Hebrew, especially a lot of brothers, they'll capitalize. They'll even turn the caps lock on just to type in their message that's actually Hebrew characters. The reason why is because Hebrew is a language that is spoken in a very loud way, right? A very pronounced way. If this is the language that is considered the Lashon Kodash, the holy tongue, it is holy because it's separate from all other languages, so it is more pronounced than other languages. And that's the reason why it's so simple, because it's simplistic enough to where you're able to pronounce it much louder than fancy, characters and words and sentences of other languages like French and, and English and Spanish. Some of those languages can, of course, be spoken just as loud, but these characters were designed from the jump to be spoken in a loud sense. And that's why you see a lot of similarities to English's capital letters like za and wa, right? So there are some examples of that in the language itself. Now, when you get to ma and na, notice that the letter M looks like this and the letter N looks like this. We know these, M and N, right? But ma and na, they are similar because there's more squigglies on the ma than there is on the na. Okay? Y'all seeing that? And so that's an easy way to remember it. You just have to remember that there's something going on after that is drawn. And again, these things mean something. So we want to make sure to, basically, we're just writing down the alphabet first, but I want to show y'all what each character means today. Okay? So we have ka, la, ma, na. Then we have sa. Sa looks like this. And when you look at S, and S has that in it. There's a line through that kind of reminds you of a dollar sign, but if you were to erase the outsides, you almost got the same thing here. So sa is actually easy to remember because the character S in English takes from this. That's why it sounds the same. Sa. Kind of looks like an antenna, but we'll see what it means when we go into the meanings of these characters. Now we have I. Now it might take a while to get used to seeing this character and saying I, right? But we're gonna understand that it's actually talking about a literal eye, like your eye. We know that your eye is a circle, right? Your eye looks like a circle. When you draw like a smiley face, you either draw dots for eyes or you draw circles for eyes, right? And so I is the Hebrew character. It sounds like that because it is supposed to represent your actual eye. And so that's actually an anatomy term that has stayed the same for thousands of years. Okay, so I still holds up even to this day. Next one is pa. Go ahead and try drawing that one right there. Pa. Pa. Yeah, I really want to go. We're definitely going to get into the meanings of these because you'll be surprised on what some of these are actually telling you. Pa. There we go. Yeah, he's definitely. Let's see it. Let's see how that looks. Pop. He do a smiley face too. Pop. Yeah. So basically, the pod is like you draw a line that goes across, and then it comes under like that. Pop. Yeah, that's. It does kind of look like a J. Or the lowercase letter T. The za is a T and a Z put together. So it's that's what it's saying. It's saying Tazah. Tazah. It looks like this. Yeah. What did it blur me out or something? No. Tazah. We're almost done with the alphabet. And like I said, I really do want to get into the meanings of these. Qua. Qua already looks like a Q, right? Qua it looks like an umbrella type Q right here. So we have Qua, Ra. We're gonna go through the whole alphabet now. Sha and Tha. Just so we can get started. All right. So when we recite the alphabet, we do them in groups. It's kind of just almost like a militant way of practicing. Because imagine if we were marching to the beat, right, and we were singing the beat, we would repeat these like this: Abagada hawaza, and then you would repeat Abagada hawaza. Then we say Khataya, and then you would repeat Khataya, and then we would say Kalamana sa ipa. Almost like the old military marches, like when they say I don't know what I've been told. And so this is just the Hebrew alphabet in a way that when we recite it, it's easy to remember like that. So let's try one by one through the whole alphabet. A, ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za, ha, ta, ya, ka, la, ma, na, sa, I, pa, taza, qua, ra, sha, tha. And that's the Hebrew alphabet. Yeah. Y'all did good. And I see y'all writing on the papers too. Y'all's characters look really good. The beauty about Hebrew is that it's a character system that is almost foolproof, even for people that like myself that have terrible handwriting. Because these characters are quite easy to understand, right? Easy enough to where anybody could draw them and they'll look about as professional as they could possibly look, even if they're thousands of years old, written on stone or a pyramid somewhere or a burial ground site where Israelites used to live, right? And so these characters have withstood the test of time. They look the exact same as they did on examples like the Los Lunas stone that was found, I believe, in New Mexico, or some of the Native American burial grounds would have these very same characters that look just like the ones that you just wrote, right? And so when we go into these characters, we're gonna get a better understanding of the alphabet. And again, this alphabet I have it written right here, so you can always see how to say it, what it looks like. Don't really worry about this right now because this again is the exact same thing but a different form with a couple extra things that you got to keep in mind. But we're just going to focus on the ancient Hebrew because it's the one that's the easiest to recognize as a hieroglyph or a pictorial language. So going to the first character here, the first character is Ah. And we said that the character Ah means cattle. Ah means cattle. one of the best ways for you to practice the Hebrew is to then take that character, put it on the right side of your paper, and then you would write it and say it. You would say it. That way you can see. I know I'm kind of blocking the screen. Ah, and then you would write it again. Ah, ah, ah. I'm kind of writing it at a different angle right here, just so I'm not blocking the screen for that. But you would practice saying it, and then you would write it down. Ah means cattle. Okay. I wonder if I have enough room to actually write all of it. I don't want to write too small though. So if I need space, I'll erase some of the ones that we've already covered. But we'll try to keep as many on the screen as possible so that you can see what it is that we have written. Next, we have Ba. And again, Ba looks like this. And it sounds like this. But what does it mean? What do you think it means? We said it before class.
To go. To go.
It means house. Or a tent. Mm-hmm. House or a tent. Because if you imagine, if you had a tent, right? Well, what do we know is a tent? The Native Americans had plenty of these. They're called teepees, right?
Yeah, teepee.
The teepee. This is a house. You would go camping in a modern day tent, right? And it would look something like this, maybe a little bigger than that. Now they have wire frames that they use to make them larger, but they are exactly what this character means. It means house or tent.
House. But now like a mouse.
That's right. So those things right there. So these words, these characters, just from the very beginning of the alphabet, are giving you the basic essentials that you have to understand for survival. Cattle. We know we are omnivorous, which means we eat plants and we also eat meat, right? Who likes chicken? Anybody like chicken? You like cheeseburgers, right? Y'all like to have all the different foods. Well, some of those foods come from animals, right? And so cattle is important because we get food from cattle, right? What's up? Did you have a question? What's up?
Using chickens have chicken inside of them. And also cows who really
Certain parts or certain animals are ones that in the Bible tell us that we can eat or that we avoid.
We can't eat cows. We don't see. We can eat pigs because.
There you go.
We're not. I won't eat pigs because if we're eating pizzas, we always get cheese pizza because.
I do the same thing. I get cheese pizza. I never get pepperoni because pepperoni has pig in it, right?
Yeah,
So-
it comes from pig.
Mhm. There are certain animals that God created that serve a purpose other than being food, right? On the land, it's pigs because they eat everything on the ground and they can't throw up. So we don't consider them cattle because they're like the garbage disposal, right?
They used to. They used to.
They're like the trash can. You ever throw your food, like the stuff that you don't eat, like your paper plates or plastic, you throw it in the trash, right?
Yeah, and also pigs.
That's fine. It's good for him because it's gonna, like I said, these first things. Well, you know what? Let me give you one more. God, because this is where things get real interesting. Watch this. God means.
That's not right.
Yeah.
So I got one.
What's up?
They're allowed to participate in class. It's not just like we're telling you.
That's perfectly fine. Yeah, because we know what the alphabet how it sounds. We've seen it all the time. You know, we use it in our day-to-day talk amongst one another. This is just giving us another way of understanding it in a deeper sense. Go ahead.
You know, it's just about the pig, you know, because you know the Most High made things, and He made like certain animals to do certain things, and that's like how we make forks, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's like telling the Most High, like, oh yeah, you made this for this, but I'm gonna use it for this. Like how we make forks. That's like saying, oh yeah, I'm gonna use a fork for like soup.
Yeah. So going back to what we were saying, yes, you're allowed to eat cow, but not pigs, right? So we don't consider pigs food. But when we think of cattle, we think of cattle for certain things like taking care of the land. Cattle are important for certain things because they're very strong. Some of them are really large and they're able to carry and move things around. So cattle are multi-purposeful while they're alive. But when they've served their purpose, we eat a lot of them. Chicken, beef, certain foods. Deer technically is okay. Go ahead.
And also, we don't eat these because they usually roll in mud because
Yeah.
and also they eat them all down. And also some pigs eat them like they're not supposed to eat.
Exactly. They eat things that we wouldn't eat, you know.
Yeah.
And so
They usually like to eat that.
right. Now we have ah, ba, and ga. Y'all say it with me. Ah, ba, and ga. What does ah mean again? Cattle. Animals. Food. Not all animals, just the ones that we raise and keep on our farmlands, or the ones that we use for food. Ba means house or tent. All right. Go ahead.
We don't usually say cow milk because when they're babies, they will say cow milk, and we say almond milk.
Almond milk that's smart. Yeah. Almond milk is probably better for you. In fact, I use almond milk when I have cereal. Yeah. What was it that you wanted to say, brother? I know you had your hand raised too. What did you want to say?
My kids, they actually eat off the ground and actually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Yeah. It was.
Disgusting. And
Exactly.
in our mouth and it got like this.
Let's see what else we have here too. Camel. So we have Ah, Ba, and Ga. And Ga represents the camel. Okay. It looks like this, but they had to have something different from this. So they have the camel here. And this is transportation. We use camel to move things around. We also kind of use them like horses. In the Middle East, a lot of that land was desert land. And camels are really good at living in the desert. So camels were popular in that side of the world. Over here on this side of the world, horses are probably more popular. I don't really think there's camels over here. So we use those things for transportation. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't need camels. Go ahead.
And also, if cows sing up a different kind of milk, the mommy pig, the mom cow, the mom cow won't like that.
Yeah. You know, when we're babies, we get our milk usually from our mothers
Yeah.
or from, I guess, Similac, right? Exactly. Now,
We always say water nuts.
think about this for a second. These are just the first three letters of the ancient Hebrew alphabet. And already we've talked about food, shelter, and transportation. Food, shelter, and transportation. That's what these first three characters mean. Now, the reason why that's important is because as we start to go through the entire alphabet, we realize that these characters are actually the building blocks of how to build a city, a civilization, a community, or a society. And so all of the characters in our alphabet are important for us to learn.
If we say B, we hear B. B.
But yeah, that's still the same. It just looks a little bit different because we think of B in the English letter, it looks like this, but in Hebrew, it looks like this. It's like English is completely backwards in a lot of ways from Hebrew. Yeah, it's like upside down, you know. So remembering the characters is the first thing to being able to read the language and then speak the language. We want to get to the point where we can hear it and know what it looks like, or we can see it and know how to say it. And that just comes from time as you see it more and more often. Now, I'm going to show you the next one. This is da. Da. And the character da means door. Remember how we talked about how ba is a house? Ba is a house. Well, the door of the house is going to look like the same thing, right? If you're thinking of a teepee or a tent, the door usually has the same shape.
Like,
Most doors nowadays are like rectangles, though, right? Like the door to your house might look like that with the doorknob. But back then, when these characters were made, it was more simple. Let him start. What's up? Did you want to say something? Go ahead.
like, if there's a tent in the woods, it looks like some.
I have a question for both of you.
Firework?
Yeah, it was a firework. So the question I have for you is this: what does the door do for the house? What's the importance of a door? Go ahead.
The door is like a different kind of shape in like where we're in a warehouse and we have that kind of shape.
Yes, the shape of the door is important, right? Because you want to make sure that it, first of all, that when you shut it, that it shuts all the way closed, right? You know. Now, the door, what the door does is it protects. Okay, that's the importance of a door. The door is like a shield to the house.
Like it can not like people can like get done
Right.
like thunder.
Like thunder, yes, rain and animals. Animals can't come to the house. Well, why? Because
They too big.
they're either too big, or if they were to go up to the door will be closed and they can't go through the door, right?
Yeah.
Unless they know how to open doors, but most animals don't know how to open doors.
And also Lucy dog like the dogs is not that big. Dogs is older than big animals because big animals cannot be inside tents. Only dogs.
Right. That's why some doors, if you ever seen a door like this, and then you ever seen a little tiny door like that? You ever seen that?
Yeah.
What's that door?
Like a tiny dog door.
A doggy door, right? They call it a doggy door, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same, it's the size and shape that allow the tiny animal to come through too. Whenever he wants to go outside to go potty, he can go out and he can come back in, and you don't have to worry about big animals coming through the door because only little animals can go through that door, right? And so that the house has a door to protect it. But door, in this case, what comes to mind when you see this? What is this?
It kind of looks like a dog.
A star?
Yeah, stars. When have
That's a good idea. The stars do shine. If you look at the stars at night, they put out these bright things, but that's not what this is. Stars. Have you ever seen a picture of the sun? What shape is the sun? Does it look like this or does it look like this?
Yeah.
Which one does it look like?
Like
This one or that one? That one?
Yeah.
This is what the sun looks like. What's another word for sun?
So,
You just said it. It's a star.
star.
Yeah. So stars in the sky are just suns that are very far away. But because they're so far away, they may kind of look like this, but it's not exactly the same thing. So I was going to show you something. This is actually somebody's name. This is somebody's initials. King David in the ancient Hebrew, his name looks like this. Dawada. Repeat that after me. Dawada. Right? And the character right here, which means hook or peg, also means to join together, because that's what hooks and pegs do. They join things together. And so King David's name is two doors that are put together to make what's called the shield of David. It's his initials. But his name itself tells the story of a protector. You understand? A protector that brings houses together, that brings communities together and then protects them. So this is a shield. Just like how the door protects you from the animals outside the house, just like how a door shields you from the rain and the cold outside. Like, you know how when it gets really cold outside, what do they say? You got to close the door because you're going to let in all the cold air. Well, the shield of David is a shield that is basically a door that keeps everything out except God's chosen people. That's what this is what it is. But it visually is the character dot. And it's two doors put together. So it's his name put together as an initial. And that's where you get this from. That's where you get this from. You see it's right here. Whenever you see this is your family crest. Your family crest. They're telling you that I belong to this family, and this family is protected by the Most High. Go ahead.
Like matadors, they can stay with them bad and
Mhm. Yeah, kidnappers and people that rob, things like that. You know, that's what our community needs more of. We need more doors in our community, right? Not just physical doors, but smart minds and people in leadership that can keep us out of trouble, out of harm's way, right? And so this representation of protection and safety is what we represent in our school, where instructions that will give us the blueprint on how to live a healthy life, how to be protected, and how to talk to one another. Go ahead. That was definitely a firework. Right.
And also, not tents have like one of those big ones. Like tents. Usually, they put doves like tents, and also dog's house kind of was like tents.
True. Yeah. Little doggy house. It looks like this, right? And then it has a little. Yeah. That kind of looks like what? Like Bob. House, right?
Yeah.
It's very close. And that's what a basic shape of a house is. Okay. Let's see. Let's see here. The next character, Ha, looks like this. Ha. Y'all see that? Go ahead and draw that. Go ahead and write that down. Ha. Yeah, it's like a backwards head.
Look.
Ha means to reveal, right?
They do one song.
Right? Have you ever played peekaboo before?
Yeah.
Well, how do you play peekaboo? Show me how you play peekaboo. Go ahead. Show me. Right. But what do you do with your hands? What do you do with your hands when you play peekaboo? You go like this, right? You go like this, and then you're revealing it. And this is kind of like what your hands do, is that you're looking like this, where your fingers are going across. And ha means the same thing. It means to reveal something.
It also that looks like a part of the alphabet. But
It kind of does, right? What letter does it remind you of? You know what this is?
Yeah.
What is that called? What letter is this? Or what about this letter? What letter is that? You know which one it is. It's H, right? H. Ha is basically an H, but it's the original version of the letter H. All right. Let's try another one. Wow. This one's easy. This one's really easy. You know why? Because this looks like a letter that already sounds like wa. What letter does this look like? Go ahead. Think of your ABCs. W, X,
wow.
Y, right? Y. This is Y right here. I'm just reintroducing you to what you already know, right? I don't want that to confuse you because that looks kind of like not right there, right? But the character Y means hook or peg. It also means to join. And then that's exactly what wa is when it's used as a preposition of a word. Because wa, what is wa in Hebrew? And. What do you use the word and for? If I say, hey, what's your favorite types of food? But you have so many different types of foods that you love. How do you say it? You say, I love pizza, and I love chicken, and I love popcorn. And what are you doing? You're joining those all together. Wa is a preposition that means and it is a visual representation of a hook, and a peg. A peg is like a nail. A hook is, think of a hook. Two hooks come together and they stay together, right? Think of think of this chain right here. This chain is just a series of links that are hooked together, right? And so wa means to join together.
It's like this.
Exactly, just like that. And that's exactly what that means. Go ahead.
So this is a question you said. Would you say the stars are doors? And if the sky closed up and the stars out pushing or openings?
I wouldn't say the stars are doors, because again, when we were going into this right here, we were talking about how a door is more like a shield, right? Because that's what a door does, is it protects you from the outside elements. Or if if you were trying to go through like a gate or a door, you would have to be able to open it to get through it, or defeat the door by breaking it. So it's a shield essentially. The door is the character dies a shield, and then that's exactly why King David's name looks just like that, because it's literally a shield that's joined together. Dawada. His name tells the story of what it is. It's exactly what King David did. He protected all of his brothers and sisters by going and standing in front of a giant and defeating the giant that was threatening to opening or a doorway would be more like the negative star, the black hole. Not so much the sun, because the sun has a presence that goes outward. It puts energy outwards. A black hole does the opposite. It brings everything in. And so that's more of like a opening, but it probably doesn't lead to anywhere but nothingness. You know what I'm saying? So people say that a black hole would be a portal or something like that. It would reduce whatever matter comes into it into such a small, dense amount that it would be as if it didn't exist anymore. So I wouldn't think of it like that though. But a black hole would be more of an opening than a star. A star is like outward projected energy, outward projected heat, radiation comes out of it and goes everywhere. That's why their solar system has one star and it has enough heat to heat up the entire all the planets that are near it. You know what I'm saying? Even in the ones that are far away, they still get some of that heat. But the ones that are the farthest away, they don't get as much heat. Like Pluto, right? Go ahead, Taziar.
Second, sir.
I'll come up with different names for these planets because they're using Roman names. I don't like that.
Yeah. Second, sir. Symbolism is part of. It's not even just Israel history, but symbols. They tell you things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, short example would be the symbol of the flag.
Yeah.
We have flags, right? Like America, we got flags. We got 5 stars. What does that mean? I mean,
You talking about Mexico?
no, I'm good at
Oh.
like even Mexico, they have flags. They got the eagle, and the snake on a cactus. Like symbolism is something. Like,
That's true.
Like you don't have to say nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like
That's exact. Yep.
It's like
You go ahead. Go ahead.
it's like that one. I'm sorry if I said that much.
No, I'm the same way because if I don't get my point across, I'll forget what I'm thinking.
Right, me too.
That's why my whole family, we always interrupt each other because that we have to slack. Go ahead. Go ahead.
But even in the American flag, they got stripes, white,
Red.
red,
Yeah.
and they got 50 stars. That represents something. This right here, what you teaching, that's hard language.
Yeah, it is.
But we Hispanic, blacks, and Native Americans, we get that.
Yeah.
Nobody else does. You can't explain this switch to anybody else. They won't get it. Guarantee.
It's almost like it's so simple. It's so simple that it's like it can't be this simple. You almost don't believe that it is, but it is. And we're showing you character by character that it is living up to what it looks like.
Right.
Camels a little bit, reveal. I had to do the peekaboo thing. So I had to be creative, right? But we know that it sounds like ha. I have another one. You know what? We'll go through 8 of them today, and then next time we'll go through another 8 because I know we're going to be doing the Sabbath service. What time is it, Javier? Oh, perfect. 41 minutes already. It's crazy. All right, but I know we've been kind of going even before the stream started, so I want to start off, or I want to finish off with a couple more. Zah. Zah means weapon. Weapon.
And you saw sis? Go like you said.
Yeah.
You saw what you did?
What?
Sa-
Like Zorro, like on Zorro. Yes.
Zorro, wait.
Yeah, like when you think of
That was-
like if you ever played what's that game where you got to swipe to take out the fruit, cut the fruit? What's that called? Fruit Ninja. You ever play Fruit Ninja? Y'all love Fruit Ninja? How do you slice the fruit?
Like, why?
You gotta swipe like that, right? You gotta go across. This is what Zah is. Zah represents a weapon, but it physically looks like a weapon. It looks like a weapon. There would be a staff, then it would
Like
be
a knife.
a sharp blade. And then there'd be another blade that goes this way. It's called a scythe.
You say like a knife.
A scythe, right? But some of them don't even have they don't have two blades on it. They'll just have one. You know what I'm saying? Because back then, sometimes somebody would have to face more than one person. So that what the scythe does is that the person will be able to stand it and hold it like this, so that when they're spinning around with it, that it's protecting them while attacking at the same time. That's what a scythe is. That's why it has. That's why it's looking at more than one direction, because they would stand in the middle of it, and then the blades would be able to. You know what I'm saying? Or they could stand it and hold it in front of them, and then they could spin it like this, and then the blade would spin in a circle that would create kind of like a shield around them, but it's an offensive shield. It's one that would cut you if you're too close to it, like a sword, right? Or when you think of you ever seen Star Wars before?
Yeah.
A lightsaber? What does that look like? It looks like it has like the light, and then it has the part that holds it, right? It's a terrible. Sure.
It's a double-edged sword.
You think of Dark Maul, but you get what I'm saying though? It looks sharp. This looks very sharp. Looking at the letter Z, like if it was a piece of metal that looked like that, you wouldn't want to just touch it without gloves because it'd probably cut you. Just looking at it looks like something that would be sharp. So Za means weapon. The word Zayan, I believe is Zayan, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Zayan means weapon. Go ahead.
We don't celebrate holidays.
Right, we don't. Well, not the ones that people here celebrate.
So,
We'll celebrate the holidays that are in the Bible.
so.
I think
we don't,
Sister Laviana about to ask a question.
we don't celebrate Christmas on Halloween. Even holidays.
Oh, no, that's something else.
What's that?
Oh, she said this.
Oh, okay, no sweat. I'll break down her name here in a second. She's tuning in. Did you have a Hebrew name? Not yet? Okay. I was gonna see who, just to give you some examples after we do this. Now we have the last one we're gonna learn today. Ha. Okay. Ha. What do you think that one means?
Like hot, like something.
Mm-hmm.
Like something.
Ha means wall.
A what?
I was going to say like common or something.
Yeah. A ladder.
A what?
You need a ladder to climb a wall.
Yeah.
But the actual character Ha, it represents a wall, right?
The people.
Think about it, because you got the two strong sides, and then you have something going across, kind of like a fence, right? A fence is a wall. So Ha is kind of like an ancient version of a wall. You would have that around your farmland. Farms still use walls that look like that even today. So it's not that much different. Sometimes a wall doesn't even have to be a really solid thing. It could just be barbed wire that go across two posts, and that's enough to keep things from coming out and in, because it's dangerous to go across something like barbed wire because it has a bunch of these on it. You know what I'm saying? So does that not make perfect sense? You know what I mean? So again, what we're showing you is that our language, the ancient Hebrew, is more than just a bunch of random shapes. These shapes mean things. I'm going to show you that. We're going to give you more examples, but let's go over the ones that we've done today. A means cattle. Ba means house. All right. Ga means camel. Da means door. Okay. We're going to the restroom. Ha means to reveal. Wa means put first 8 characters is enough to start a colony of people, a tribe of people. Teaching a child from their youth these very same things shows them a language that they can speak with and a life that they can live because they understand how to communicate these things and the importance of them to each other. Having cattle, having a place, having transportation, having protection. Hooks and pegs that are used to build things, ways to protect yourself, right? So this is what our language is. Our language is a structured language. Everything means something. And again, this is the holy tongue. This is the oldest language on earth. The oldest language on earth is actually the most advanced language on earth because advanced languages teach you things very quickly without you having to, study in depth on it. You learn this quick. This language is built for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans because all we ever do with languages is try to shorten them and try to use them in as efficient ways as possible.
Right.
Go ahead, Copyright.
You know what's crazy? I was actually talking to a little brother today about the language, about how like they were saying like how we was talking about Spanish at the time. Let's say talking about how it was easy and everything, but like how like English language, it doesn't differentiate like women and men. Like you know how Spanish it'll different women and men, you gotta use and o.
Yeah.
And like in Hebrew you gotta use different you gotta
Yam and yan,
yeah.
kam and khan, right?
But then when it comes to English, you don't gotta do that. And it made me think about it, like, oh wow.
It's like gender neutral.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all make sure to share the class. You know what I'm saying? Like it. Tune in next week. We're going to continue and do it. But before we go, I'm going to show you an example, right? So here we have copy, right? This is it in English. Oh, my bad. I didn't use all caps lock.
Oh, you're not gonna do it?
Ka. Yeah, we'll do there. Pa, ya, and Ra. Copyrighter's name means young lion. Young, right? And so we hadn't got the chance to go through the entire alphabet, but we're gonna understand. I'm gonna give you the understanding of these right here. So, Ka represents a hand, or in the lion's case, a paw. And one thing we know about lions, they come from cats. Cats' most dangerous weapon is not their mouth. No, that's alligators and dogs. They have a strong bite. Cats aren't known for their bite. Now, big cats, of course, yes. But small cats, they're known for what they do with their hands. That's why you see them videos when the cats fight starts, they go like, and then you see their hands, they're throwing their hands, they retracting their claws, right? So a young lion is learning what he can do with his hands, what he can do with the abilities that he has, his strengths, right? Pa, the character Pa means mouth. And it looks like a mouth because if you go like that and then draw a face, what do you see? It's a mouth, right? Like Pac-Man, you know what I'm saying? It represents a mouth. Another thing that a lion does as it gets older is it learns how to roar, learns how to pronounce and project itself. I remember when Copyard first came to the school, he was quiet as a mouse. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't get him to yell. He was like a young lion learning how to roar. You ever seen that? I forget which movie it was. It was a cartoon. It was like the lion had to roar, but his roar was like a squeak.
Lion King.
Was it Lion King?
Oh, Lion King.
It was like so. It was like that. But by the time the lion got to the age where he started to get a little older, his roar started to be more pronounced, right? Like Copyard when he first had his first camp speaking. Now dozens of camp speakers later, not only is he reading pronounced, he's speaking with authority, like a way a young lion would learn how to use his ability. Because they use a roar to, and you know what's crazy? A lion's roar is the same thing as a door for us. Because a roar tells everything to back away. It protects it. protects everything around it, just from its mouth, its ability at a young age. And then you have Ya, which represents arm and hand, technically, kind of like Ka. But right here, you have what's basically like your arm, your elbow. You know what I'm saying? Your forearm, your wrist, and then your hands, right? So it kind of doubles down on the physical ability because we talked about the hand, talked about the mouth, and then it's talking about the arm/hand again because again, the things that a young lion is doing is he's putting in work. He's doing things. Young lionesses learn how to hunt at an early age. They have to use their hands to do that. They have to learn how to sneak and prowl, all things that utilize their arm and hand. A young brother coming to the school learning how to use his arms to craft garments and you know what I'm saying and hold shamar and do things that a young lion in the troop would do. But we equate the name Kapayar to young lion because it is an entity that's coming of age and learning what its abilities really are. And then finally you have Ra, which represents the head. Right? The head of the lion, which would put it all together, and you see that it's all the physical abilities and capabilities of a young lion is growing and getting stronger, right? The head can mean multiple things, the literal head or the leadership, because again, a male lion that takes on the role of a leader protects an entire group, or their pride is what they call it, right? Remember Lion King, what they call it? They call it a pride. Okay, and so his pride is what he protects, and he's the head of that pride. So he uses all these abilities to be the leader, because as he gets older, he becomes a leader, and that's why it's at the end of the name. I might be going too deep, but
You are, but it's like another one.
Uh-huh.
The general saw it. Cookout.
huh?
The generals, they saw that. Cookout.
Yeah. What's that?
Put them on.
There it is. What do you mean at the cookout, though? I don't get that. What do you mean by that?
They raised them up.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
They raised them up.
Yeah, no, I thought even they saw this breakdown of it. I was like, oh, cool. We were doing her name, right? Labaya. All right, so let's go into it. So La Ba Ya. Labaya. All right, so the first thing about this name here, what does her name actually mean? Says what does Labaya mean? Kapiyar? What does Labaya mean?
Young lion. Oh, no, whoa, my bad. Lioness.
It's lioness?
Oh yeah, lioness.
Oh, it is.
Lioness.
That's too perfect. That's crazy. Okay, so just like how Kapiyar is a young lion, Labaya is lioness. And so they're going to complement each other in a few ways. And so La in Hebrew is actually a picture of something. Do you know what it's a picture of? It's a staff. Staff. What does a staff do? Think about people that hold a staff. It's an assist. It's a support beam. First thing you do, if you break your leg, what do they give you? They give you crutches, right? Hold you up. That's what a staff is. A staff is also kind of a weapon too. It's not a direct weapon. It's more of like a secret weapon because it's one that's like, oh, you know what I mean? Like Moses had the staff, but then he used it and he smashed the whole ocean. You know what I'm saying? The whole sea split in half. I mean, there's something to it, right? Staff could mean support, leadership, support of leadership. That's what a staff is. Matter of fact, what is it the first thing that a president does when they come into office? What is something that happens when a CEO creates a new company? They hire what? A staff.
Oh, what?
They hire a staff of people to support them. You understand? Support what their mission is. So that's what a staff is. Now we already know what this one is. This is house. All right. So what is it that she's supporting? She's supporting the house. She's supporting. We knew that the house when we drew the house like this, then all we did was just took away this right here, and you actually see the exact same basic shape, right?
Yeah.
But it actually represents like the TP and then the surrounding area, which is why it would be in a lion's best interest when they have a breeding ground or a place to raise their young, that they don't just care about where they protect everything around it. They create an environment to keep it safe. All animals do that. That's why birds create nests. That's why you know what I'm saying, lionesses, they protect not just the immediate what do you call it, camping site where their cubs are sleeping, but you go anywhere near it, they're on you. They don't want you to be even within 300 meters of where their cubs are at. And so a lioness is going to support the house in every way possible. You understand? You see what I'm saying? The other thing is this. The arms. We talked about the arms before, right? The arms. And the revealing. Now, this can mean a couple things, but for a literal lioness, lion, who hunts in the pride of lions? Is it the male lion? No, it's the female lion, because they use their arms. Remember, I mentioned the arms. They use that when they hunt. They use that when they crouch, when they're getting ready to pounce. You see them get their paws ready. You see them retract their claws from it. And then it is not until they reveal themselves that it's already too late. They already took down the prey. That's the whole point of what hunting is. Hunting is the element of surprise. And so revealing is that. Does the same thing. This is no different than a sister that downloads the Target app and uses the coupons to save money on groceries. Because what are you doing? You're hunting for good deals. I'm sorry that it sounds kind of cheesy like that, but that's kind of what sisters do. When you think of a Proverbs 31 chick, she's always looking for ways to support the house and get goods for the house. Right. And that's exactly what a lion does. The lioness does the same thing. It's the same thing. Your name, sis, Lalaya, tells the story of what a lioness is. Physically, when you look at it, that's what I'm showing y'all. And I can do that with my name. I can do that with Tyler Yar's name. I've done that with Commander General Johanna's name. It always tells the story. And that's why we are able to communicate so well with each other when we are unified as the 12 tribes of Israel, because our names, we can look at it and we can understand who we are. If I show you what my name is, you can look at it and you can say, I see what this brother's all about, just from what his name is. And with that, we're at Isupk. Started out at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. In 1969, we're under commanding General Yohana, here to teach the truth of the Bible. So-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are the real Jews according to the scriptures. Now, again, we're going to end this stream here. We should be back up and running within the next 20 minutes or less, because we're going to do tonight's Sabbath service, which is, well, the Sabbath has already begun because the sun has set. So we're going to go ahead and do our Sabbath service shortly after. So tune into that. We got more information to bring out for y'all, and of course prayers and everything that comes along with it. We'll be using the Hebrew right away. So tune into that.